Hello, hello, hello. Just finished chatting. So, welcome guys. Yeah, so what we're going to do today is continue with our test flights. What we're going to do is slow flight testing. What I did meanwhile is optimizing our Skyhawk to have the least amount of slip while it's in straight and level flight at our design cruise altitude and speed, RPM, that I will demonstrate in just a sec. So you are up to date as well on what I'm doing here. Let me see, PlaneMaker. So what we did as a first flight test was just to assess or evaluate the structural integrity of the Skyhawk in terms of stability. Longitudinal, lateral, spiral, directional stability. And through discovery learning, we actually found out that we needed to change the lower end of the rudder panel here, as you can see, or the rudder control surface. It has a little bit of a curve, as you can see, and that actually corresponds with an actual rudder tab that's apparently also mounted on Skyhawk's 172s. So that's really, really awesome. So that works also in X-Plane. So what I did, I made that, those are in the wing section, I think. So what we have now, this is the upper part that's now highlighted. So what we have is minus 1.9, minus 1.4, and then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Also now the lateral arm is 0. That was already the case during last stream. And with the other vertical, so that's the inner part here, I needed to set that at minus 0.5 degrees. So there's a little bit of a twist, which makes the slipstream, so the spiral of the airflow generated by the propeller, less effective, you could say, when it's hitting this side of the vertical stabilizer. Which is cool and corresponds to sketches, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Let me first demonstrate that that's still the case, though. Hey, Scrap, good to see you. Welcome. So, X-Plane, new flights, our Skyhawk, question mark, and let's go to cock run. And what I also did, actually following up on what Jamian was saying in the previous stream, or suggesting, like, why don't you use the autopilot? I was thinking on my own, like, well, why shouldn't I actually? So I've actually been using now the autopilot to be straight and level when we're going to do this assessment. And that's important because if we are not leveled when we do these tests, there are different factors that come into play, different aerodynamic forces that are involved, I guess, with a single prop engine airplane. And one of those four factors is when we are in high pitch, in high RPM. Then the propeller blade cuts a bigger chunk of air at the bottom of the propeller rotation. And that also evokes a more left turn tendency. So to avoid all of those factors, I need to fly straight and level. So that's the idea. So M. Let's go up to 4,000. Again, X-Plane is holding up just fine the last stream. So batteries are not on, RPM is also, engine is still off, so let's do that first. Generator, battery, oh, really going up now. Make sure, there we go. There we go, let's go up. Then I enable the autopilot, wings level, I hope, arm. Why doesn't that work? Because my avionics should be turned on. Yep. So there we are. Just wings level would be fine, or does it just... How does that work actually? Heading. sin. Oh, that's another sin. Well, we're gonna fly into a mountain, but a wonderful 2D cockpit. Yeah, exactly. As I said in the previous stream, reminded me of the good old days, Flight Simulator 5. Okay, so we're level. We've got all kinds of data refs. So the idea was 2450 RPM is the design RPM for the propeller. Also with 110 true airspeed, I think. So let's also optimize our airframe for that same power configuration to eliminate slip. So 2450-ish. And here is the slip. Let me see. 60. Our RPM is still increasing because our speed is increasing. So we need to stabilize first. Still RPM is increasing because we are increasing speed. So we just need to take a sec here. Again, you can see. So a bit less, Don't have a really fine-grained throttle here. So let's get as close as we can. Something like this. And as you can see, our slip is practically zero. So that's great news. So currently this should be just fine. Spending many hours in Blender and then realizing that the plane fly like a brick is not good. Try getting to your speediness and your RPM. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with this. So that's something that we removed, that side slip. And that means that when we turn off the autopilot, you can see there's still a left turn tendency, but now the slip component is a bit less. It's increasing now that we're turning. And we can safely say, well, am I correct to say that? Yes, that this left turn tendency is mostly generated by engine torque. Because that's the only factor that we cannot counter in that slip-focused, slip-oriented way. So now what happens if we give full power, full RPM, we obviously get a more increased left turn tendency. That's just part of the game. And when we go idle, we should have a little bit of a right turn tendency. And that's the case, as you can see. Well, I don't know if you guys can see, but there it is. So we need to put in left rudders, and that's also realistic. So I'm quite pleased with this. Now, the next step is to take a look at slow speed, and why not already go into that right away? A little bit nose of trim. Flaps are up. Now let's see what's going to happen. Now the stall warning will sound that there's this thing here will light up, but that's actually not the actual moment where the Skyhawk is stalling, because that we can set that in PlaneMaker on what angle of attack. So now it's currently, we have an alpha of 8 right now, I see in the data output, but you can see the airplane is still not stalling, actually stalling. 10 degrees of alpha, 11. Now at the bottom of the green arc and my speed, I should experience a stall. I'm falling down. Yes! Man, that's almost perfect. Without any tuning. Let's try again. So again, bottom of the green arc. This is flaps up stall. This is flaps down stall. So that's also one way we're going to try. So idle. The one thing though that doesn't feel right is that we are slowing down quite slowly now with idle prop. And that would suggest to me that the drag component, either of the wings or of the airframe, is not set correctly. Bottom green arc. 15° alpha. 17, and there we go. That's really nice. At least in terms of speed, but in terms of alpha it might be much too exaggerated. And I don't know how to interpret that actually. In terms of speed it's okay, but perhaps it should be related to a different kind of alpha, and that still requires us to go back into PlaneMaker. I'm not quite sure. Let's power off 777. Now let's do full flaps. Right bottom there. There we go. But you can see how slowly our speed slows down, bleeds off. That's not realistic. We're descending, by the way. Nose up. Ah, it's already dropping. I would expect it to see. Yeah, so here there is a stall. So with flaps down, you can see that we stall much too soon. Let's try again. Yeah, around 50 or so. Okay. Okay. I'm curious, as always. Let's first, and this is something that I need to get video references for, I guess. Some kind of a reference of how fast the Skyhawk actually slows down when we go idle once we are flying. I have no idea. So soon I'm gonna make a local flight here in a 172 SP to just make a video recording out of that so we can mimic it. But either way, to me it seems that we are not slowing down that quickly. Let me see. Sim Caesar has rated you with a party of 7. That's kind of you, Sim. Welcome. Welcome. Now, I know there are generally two ways to increase drag here. We could set the drag of the wings through PlaneMaker. We can also set it through the airframe. So the fuselage also has its own drag coefficient. This is the coefficient of drag of this body, which will give the total drag for the body when multiplied by the body frontal area. Air density, blah, 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 blah. A value of 0.1 is appropriate for airplanes of average sleekness. 0.05 would apply to very low drag aircrafts. Okay, so I guess a 0.05 difference already means a lot. Note, even if you enter 0 here, the body will still have drag at any side slip and angle of attack. Use miscellaneous object, not miscellaneous body, for visual additions to airplanes that have no flight model impact as well. Okay. I'm just curious. So let's increase that drag by 0.05. That should really make a significant difference. Save. Developer. Reload aircraft. Unpause. And idle. I don't really notice that much of a difference. I'm tempted to say that we need to look at Airfoil Maker instead. Whoa, there we go. That's flaps up. My gosh. It does feel special to use the developer tab, doesn't it? Yes. Although I don't quite feel like a developer just yet, to be honest. I cannot wait to start with Blender though, but I'm really learning a lot more than I initially thought of from these test flights actually. It's really, really cool. Yes, I'm not convinced by that drag thingy here, so I'll just keep that as is, save. Let's have a look at our airfoils. So these are the airfoils for the prop. Good propeller. There are some default airfoils that we can load up here in PlaneMaker, but they are default, basic airfoils. So I know that the Laminar 172, for example, has its own customized airfoils. Now we could use them, copy paste those, but that's not that's not the guiding principle of this development project. Up to now, we have created a model that's based off of actual references of manuals and stuff, which I'd like to continue. So also in terms of airfoils, let's learn about this. So these are the wings. These are the vertical stabilizers. Yeah, that's pretty much a makes sense that that's a symmetrical airfoil. Let me see. Hey, what good to see you. Welcome. Miscellaneous wings. Yes, so we got wing 1, wing 2, wing 4, and wing 5. Yeah, so we got all of these wing sections here. We got multiple wing sections. We got an inner part, we got an outer part, and times 2 is 4 different miscellaneous wings. And I don't know by heart which wing section corresponds to what wing section here in the picture. Anyways, what I do see, and that's correct, that this is the NACA 2412 airfoil. So that's the basic belly bubble airfoil shape. But it might not be correct. And we can also set one depending on different Reinhold numbers. I think that is a compound, some kind of number, some kind of value that is composed of multiple things. Airspeed, angle of attack, I'm not sure anymore. So that's something that I need to look into right now. So we can select different airfoils here that are just provided with X-Plane. You can see there are many to choose from. The 2412 invert cuff, well, we are just using this one. So what I can do, and I don't know how X-Plane is actually working with that. I'd like to copy paste that airfoil and put it in my own aircraft folder so I can just rename it and we can tweak that one. I like the default to remain default. But I don't know if that's the way to do it. If I can just assign it through the manual, or that I should duplicate that airfoil in that same folder, or whether I should copy paste it to my own. Airfoil Maker. Airfoil Maker. Airfoil Maker summon to the X point, click. Considering, by the way, do you have the angle of incident decrease as you go out from the route? Yes, sir. Yes, we actually used interesting math to get those incidents just right. So even those we have referenced, not just only based off of visual observation, but we calculated those angle of incidence. So I'm pretty sure that that's correct. Although I actually also read that when the Cessna Skyhawks are constructed and the wings are mounted on the cabin, that the aircraft engineers test fly those aircraft to then change the angle of incidence so that the thing flies stable for that particular configuration. So it's actually not a totally universal kind of setting. Still, you would see the same kind of principle there, so more greater angle of incidence at the roots than at the tip. But that surprised me kind of. It's interesting. Desktop manual about explain. I'm just going to go to airfoil maker. What did we do? Airfoil maker. Oh, that's the only thing. Airfoil maker supplement. This is just about explain. Airfoil maker. I believe I've read something. Yeah, rotor wing. Oh, there. Yeah, you can see rotor wing, tip of wing. Yeah. The top root and tip pair of foils in each wings box specifies the low Reynolds number version of the foil. The bottom pair specifies the high Reynolds number. Yeah. Once again, explain will interpolate between those. Yes. The following 2 pages. No, I think that's even still not the thing that I was looking at. Yeah. No. No. Airfoil maker. I believe there was a manual for that. Airfoil maker. When using air to create this airfoil before see airfoil maker supplement to the expanding, explain, airfoils. Apparently, I'm overlooking information here. Well, either way. Yes, kinda they change one of the bolts to rotate the whole wing, so the difference to root and the will be the same, but the whole wing has a slightly higher. Exactly, culture. Yeah, that's what I read as well, which I think that's interesting. Yes, well, we can obviously just sneak peek to see what Laminar is doing. Explain. This is our own folder. Laminar. Cessna 172. Airfoils. There you go. Yeah, so here they got a root and a tip version. And also some symmetrical. Yeah, that's also what we are doing. That does suggest to me that even though we are also using the standard airfoils delivered by X-Plane in its default airfoils folder somewhere, that we should copy paste those as well and re-reference our wings according to. Yeah. Okay. How do we do that? New folder? No, not there. Let me try again because I'm making this mistake too many times. Click there. New folder. Thank you, Mac. Airfoils is already taken, obviously. Airfoils. Yes. Can I see Finder again? Thank you. Boom. There it is. We can. Yeah, here it is. What are we using? Well, we are using the NECA 6 and 30. NECA 06 symmetrical. Mac, this shouldn't be that difficult. That one, we are using that one. And we are using the default one. Yeah, which we are going to tweak. And perhaps we're going to create a root and a tip one as well, but it seems a bit too advanced for me at the moment. The 2012 popular, yes. So these are the ones that we are using right now. So let's also move those to our airfoil. Hello? What the hell? Airfoils, yes, thank you. Yes. Version 1. Okay. So now that we've got an airfoils folder, I think that X-Plane will automatically look for an airfoils folder in the aircraft that you're flying, and when it finds one, it's going to use those, I think, airfoils. So I don't know what these are referencing to, whether there's also a path here associated. I think so, because this folder is up. Can I also... No, I cannot even go up to another folder. How does that work then? Let's have a peek. Save. Laminar Skyhawk. How did Laminar do it then? Can you just type in that box? Airfoils. They are using wings, symmetrical wings, which is incorrect. Makes life easier, but it's incorrect. Yeah, so roots and tip. Yeah, so the first wing section here has a root as well, which makes sense because it's this first station here. That's quite consistent, equivalent for each station, but from here you can see the washout happening from then 2412 airfoil to a more symmetrical airfoil. And that's what they are doing, making a difference between the root and the tip. And we can do that as well. That's interesting. Anyways, they are not referring to that popular 2412. Yes, there it is. Oh, I should rescan, perhaps. That's it. File open. Don't save. Our own 172 version 3. Airfoils. Yes, I'd like to change these as well. Ah, there it is. Now it's already, yeah, okay. So this is 06. Open. Which one did I change? Open. I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but I'd like to make sure that we got a self-contained package so that we I forgot about which one. Focus here. Doesn't seem that I'm changing anything, but I'd like to be 100% sure that we are referring to our own files now. Miscellaneous. Yeah, so here we're going to change things up, and looking at those file structure, file use that Laminar is doing, I'm going to do the same actually, because I know what we're trying to do here. Yeah, and it's actually not going to be that difficult actually, because the root is just the same. It's going to be that, I mean, this entire section here has that 2412 airfoil, but then starting for the next wing section here, obviously here it's going to start with 2412 as well. And then it's going to turn into a more symmetrical airfoil. So, yeah. So then this is going to be tip version 1. That means that I need to change it. And why am I working with versions here? Is that important? No. Yes. Yeah, perhaps I should also change these file names. So I know that we actually changed something. Go back. Rescan. Yes, that's better. Now we know for sure. Kiddo. Yeah, so what was, this was root, this was dip, wasn't it? Root, tip. Yeah, what we could do is even, but then we're working around X-plane. We could even make a high Reynolds and a low Reynolds version of our airfoils so that we approximate a more realistic airfoil behavior in X-plane. But I don't have that data. And if I understand Rush correctly, that data is also not openly available. So that's not what we're going to do. So let's just change these into root first. Roots. Yes, and these should not be all tip because some of these are just the tip of that outer, are just the tip of the inner wing section, and so it should still be assigned root. But which one is which? I don't know. Miscellaneous wings. One is the inner, yeah, so it's inner, outer, outer. Okay, so back to airfoils. Inner, so this should also be roots. And this one as well. Yeah, and these ones should be tip. Okay, that's looking good. Save. Now, what we could do, we can just, I would like to first test, I mean, the root is still the 2412. Let's keep that as is for now, but let's make that tip symmetrical. And now, currently, it's still that 2412. So let's see if I can do that. See if we can run these 3 programs all together. There's PlaneMaker for ya. File. Open, I think. Oh. loose. Something is on the loose. There it is. Aircraft 172 airfoils. Tip. Open. Here we are. Oh my gosh. All right. So we can close PlaneMaker. I'm gonna get myself some water, guys. Just a sec. Okay. So what do we see here? We see drag, we see lift, and we see moment. As you can see with these numbers here. So lift, coefficient of lift, coefficient of drag, coefficient of moment, as I remember. And what you see here on the on this axis, horizontal axis, are the degrees of alpha. That's this one. So the angle of attack. And so with a particular angle of attack, suddenly our lift coefficient changes, and that's actually our stall speed. You can see there, it's kind of like mirrored, so we can also have an inverted kind of stall. And this is a range of angle of attack, negative angle of attack, which is really, really weird, where the wind is coming from the other side over the wing, so you can fly backwards, which is very unrealistic. In our case, we don't really mind, and there's no data on this at all. Yes, and I expected that we could find some graphs of this for the 172 2412 airfoil, but there aren't, because then we could just mimic those, try to copy those just through making the lines look the same. But that's also something that we cannot do. Now, there are all kinds of different numbers here that I have never worked with before. On the top here, we see different... What was this about already? I forgot. Here you can see the airfoil. And again, yeah, I know that I've read something about this. I know that Laminar is saying, well, this looks like the airfoil, and you might be tempted to change this look of the airfoil, but it will only change visually, and it doesn't do anything aerodynamically in X-Plane. Even though I don't really care actually about changing this thingy. We could, but eventually we're just going to make our own visual model, right? Let's just see what happens. Again, it's not symmetrical. Should I manipulate the top or the bottom to do this? Now we set different angle of incidences. Thinner, I would say, and symmetrical. Again, this doesn't really matter that much because it doesn't change the actual Now that to me looks like a symmetrical airfoil. Even though it's just PlaneMaker visual, we don't really care. Airfoil thickness, drag, blah 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 blah. These are the different Reynolds numbers. Alright, saved. Yeah, Tim, and now. Yeah, so obviously we should relate this to X-Plane. And what we found was that we stalled at the right speed with flaps up. I mean, obviously we should do first the test without the flaps because we're just interested in the airfoil itself. And what we found was that we did stall almost exactly where we should have stalled. Perhaps that has to do with the fact that we just set that number in PlaneMaker. And it's not just luck, we set it. PlaneMaker knows what our indicated stall speed should be. So perhaps it's just a checkbox and it's just going to simulate a stall once we hit that particular speed. And so the only free roaming variable here is the angle of attack at which we stall. Now that was really huge. Let me see. Here is the alpha. So we already see the stall warning below, but we are not stalling. Alpha of 11. Look at how far our nose is pitching up. It's ridiculous. There comes the bottom of the green arc. There we go. Boom. That was 16. I didn't even notice. There we go. Another check. And now I need to pay attention to the numbers as well rather than just flying. 16 or so. My gosh. All right. So then the question would be, do we know at what angle of attack the Skyhawk should stall? Because if we have a reference, then we can work towards that reference. Typically around 15 or 16 degrees. For like our 172 basic stalling forums is X-Plane. That's not really the resource that I'd like to rely on. As we will find it in the POH as well. There's even this one. Attack or just attack cylinder plastics. Nope. Information manual perhaps. Nope. Maintenance. Vega, good to see you. Why start making planes? Now I'm so confused, Tim. And there are already lots of companies that have this down. Well, primarily this project is about me just learning about aerodynamics and getting more intimately familiar with the look and design of the Skyhawk. I just love the thing. Plus, now that I'm at it, I have some nice ideas to make a Skyhawk that I would like to fly as a serious student pilot. And initially started with a side project, aside from my IFR flight training, but it's really fun to do. And I'm really learning a lot. So yeah, it's taking up all of my stream time, but rest assured, I'm still very, very much into flying and also nailing my IFR training in the sim. But there's just so much energy, or interest, I should say. Not here. And then the last one that I always find very informative. So you get to know her on the inside out. I see now it all makes sense. Just curious why you have been killing your channel so far this year. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, it's probably not in our manual. Skyhawk? Yeah, this is the kind of curve that we are looking at as well, as you can see. It's this one. The first thing that I'm noticing is that 20 or 16 is actually not that extreme for a stall, at least with flaps up. Which is a bit of a surprise, just experiencing that. Yeah, blah blah blah. Thanks, Vega. Mac, what are you making? Making my own Skyhawk 172 SP as a research project, just to learn more about the Skyhawk, but also to make it, just to learn how to aircraft designers make our favorite aircraft and explain how do you 3D model, how do you texture, how do you do animations. And that also gives me an opportunity to create a highly animated 172, much more animated than our current 172s that are out there. Educationally relevant animations, I should say. I have lots of ideas that we can do, and once I get the hang of just modeling, it's not that difficult anymore, I think. So also just love to learn how they do it. So that's why. Yeah. How do we do this? What I like to know is just the angle of attack of the 172 that stalls, and I guess it depends a bit. 172 is using NACA 2412. I know. Okay, without flap, it stalls behind 22 degrees. This is it. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, so here there should be a stall. Well, behind 22 is a bit too much. I would indeed say something like 19 or so. 18, 19. Reynolds. Also look at the drag there. This is interesting. Okay. Boom. Stall around 18 degrees, exactly. Please note that the angle of attack that the wing stalls is different from the angle of attack that produces zero lift. As in your original question, that's what threw me off. Downloads. Oh, that's also interesting. I'd like to have the source material as well. Aerodynamics for naval aviators. Wonderful. 1965. Vega, just a 2D cockpit for now. Yeah, so just we have some readouts, but it's going to be a highly detailed 3D cockpit. I can assure you. I cannot wait to start with that. Yes. Desktop. Yeah, let's give it a name as well. What was it called? Naval. Alright. 172. Can we not search in this document? I guess not. Oh, we can. And why does the guy have this in color while our document is not in color? Yeah, that's indeed the stuff that we need to look at. Skyhawk then? Cessna? That's a bit of a bummer. Because I'm not planning to go through this entire document to find our little... Wow, this is an interesting PDF that I should put on my nightstand before I go to sleep. Lots of graphs, looks reliable. The only thing I have not confirmed yet is that that particular graph that we just downloaded is actually from this manual. If so, I'll believe it once I read it. Okay. That's a wonderful picture. Okay, so for the sake of our own experimentation here, that's one of the best books ever made. Oh, awesome, Mac. Okay. I'm curious, even more curious. So NACA, there it is. The goal now is to click PlaneMaker to mimic it in a way. So let's just first take that lift coefficient. So one thing, we got the alpha here on that horizontal axis, but we also have this axis, which is the amount of lift, or just the amount of just the value for the dragon for the moment. So the top should be around, I mean, what we were looking at now, this one, I guess, the left side one. So this is 0.1, 0.2, 3.4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6, 7, 8, and even more. So it should be around here. That's the difference. Why do we see these opaque thingies? I do not know. Let's see if we can just experiment. Let's see. Lift power. Maximum stalled drop. Well, let's just change numbers and see what it does. Boom. Oh yeah, that's the drop. It's the stiffness, okay? Or the drop gradient power. Okay. Yeah, so we can try to mimic it away, even though you still have a really sharp cut, and we don't see that there, which is a bit weird, because I know that the guys were referring to this jump or fall drop. There's the maximum. Oh yes, we're now to 1.3, and this is 1.3. That's basic. So let's go up to 1. What was it? 6, 7, 8-ish. 8 and a bit. Boom. Clearly this is not in line. Is that slope? 2, 3, 4. I'm just drawing here. That looks pretty good. Yes, just keep it there. Let's also look at drag. But we are now, what were we doing? We're now changing the tip file. And this is the Naked 2412 original thing. So this should actually, yeah, so wait. This is not what I'd like to do. Open, don't save. The root file. Yes. So, where were we? 8.5. There we go. Then we got a nice curve there. Yeah, it's hard to mimic that degree with that drop. Looks like it's a little bit too fast dropping over there. Less drop power. Oh. No, the other way around. Nah, this is too much. Okay, where does it cut through the line? Through the thingy. So that's 10. So that's by 2s, I guess. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, so that's -2. This is -2. Yes, so we're, yeah, okay, so it should move on exactly to this point. Okay. I have no idea, guys. Does something. Intercepts. It also changes the drag component, so I'm not sure if the linear range. Doesn't do anything. Lift power. Oh yeah, that's that power. I'll keep it like that. Drag minimum. Minimum drag and lift. Or is that alpha, perhaps? Oh no. 10, what did we do? What did we do? Can I undo? No. What did I just do? Oh, we're now selecting the yellow. Ah, this axis changes based on what curve you're working on. And I was now working on that one, which presumably has to do with the moment. Can we check? Lift power? Boom. Yes, exactly. Okay. So this is -2. Corresponds with that. -2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. And it goes with 0 at 1.2. Yeah, so angle alpha is 0 here. So this is the 0 mark. 0.2, and we're going through it at 0.3. So this might give us an indication of what the angle is of our curve. And so it's too curved. It's going up too fast. It should be 2. It should be here. Let me see if I can change that, guys. Slope. That's maximum. What that might do it. Yeah, then we change the entire thing. That's drag. Drag, buck. I don't know what that was for. And this is Reynolds. That's also important, by the way. So this is set to 0.1, and we're actually working in 5. Am I saying that correctly? So mag, that's... Yes, but it's 0.1, so it should be 5? I'm confused. Because there's not even a tab for 5 point something, so perhaps I'm confusing something. Not familiar with this, guys. So... Does it do anything? I would just like to know... Tell me what it is. Is mag? It's a million, yeah. Okay. And we are working with 5 here. Yeah, so now we change that to 5. And we have a low and a high one. But I'm not sure what that is actually. So let's delete that one and let's, yeah. How does X-Plane do that then? Because we can assign different airfoils to either low or high Reynolds numbers in PlaneMaker. So why does the airfoil itself have a difference between a low and high Reynolds number? Perhaps it doesn't really matter that much. Well, let's keep it in. We'll have to see. Okay, so what I was looking at was, again, this. So at 0 angle of attack, we would have 2.5, a value of 2.5. So here we are, 1, 2, 2.5. If I just select power. Is that correct? No, that's not correct because I was looking at the wrong scale. Yes. So this should move down. Yeah, so the only thing that I can think of is... Oh no, that's not this. It's this. Yeah, but it's... yeah. And now I change the... yeah. Okay, so that was slope. Is that the intercept then? Yes, so now it's again at 0 at -2 degrees. And now it's at 2.5. Good. And now we can make it a little bit more smooth. And what's... there's the power. Boom. This is more smooth, and we still have that 1.8.5 at the top. We have, yeah, so we're hitting the right numbers now. To what else? Well, let's say 1.5 should correspond with... around 12 degrees. 12. There it is. Corresponds with 1.7. So it's still going too high up. That surprises me. It makes the curve also quite sharp if it should drop. Alpha. Is that correct? How did that work again? How do I keep the ruler? How did that work? That's how it worked. Yeah, exactly. 12. Okay. Yeah, it is hitting 8 and a bit. So, well, yeah, it's this one. And it should actually hit over there. That's weird, because then there should be an irregularity in that. I mean, there should be a smooth curve. If we want to do that, if we change that, we change those numbers too. Lift power. There you get something like this. You get something like this if you want to fix that. This is ridiculous. The whole idea of an airfoil is that you slowly creep up on that stall. Okay. I'm deciding that we're going to ignore that number. We checked alpha here, values there, and we know that the top hits there, so it makes sense that it should go in a straight line. Okay. Then the drag. Drag is 0.1 low, so where's the minimum drag? There it goes. Should be 1. There it is. And it goes up at around, yeah, 18, 16, 17. Let's see what it does all the way around. A little bit fatter it is. Interesting. All right, it's not that. And it goes up behind. Minimum, I shouldn't touch that. This is kind of good. Okay, let me see. So what do we have here? It goes up at around 10. No, so it should be flatter at the bottom. This is the parasite drag of the airfoil at an angle of attack. Interesting. Oh. There we go. Now it goes up at around 11, 12, yeah, 12, 14, 16, yeah, that's still not good. This is better. I should go up a little bit faster here. $14, 16. Well, let's keep it here. And let's see what I can do. I'm gonna remove those two. Delete and delete. So just clean. And now the moment. This one. Let's see what we can do with that. So minimum is 0.5 and it should actually be this is moment 0.05 exactly 0.05, so this is 0.05. Ah, there we are. Obviously 0.5, but it never goes up. Actually, it always stays negative. At around 20 it goes up. And this is, where are we, 20? It's almost here. So it increases all the way up to there. Okay, let me see if that stays around here. And then here it drops almost in the same curve as our lift component. And it goes up. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, now we just drawed something over based on a map that we are not sure of whether this is actually related to the Tor 172, perhaps just a generic 2412 airfoil. But it's making me curious though. Save. This is the root file. So now if we do reload current aircraft, we have now loaded up our new and improved wing, if I'm correct. Let me see. So RPM down. Let's see if we notice a difference. Speed is dropping back nicely, also much quicker. There comes the animated stall. There he goes. Okay. Let's fire up, flaps down. Full flaps down, I mean. And again, and now let's see if we can hit that Bottom of the white arc. No, we cannot. I cannot even get my nose up here. I'm giving full elevator up. And I'm not even stalling. Okay. Interesting. So this is the drag value. What happens if we... This is minimum drag. What if we increase that number? And then... change this up. And then save. Why can't we reach to 40? Could also be that it doesn't have to do with the airfoil, but the chord size of our wings. That our wings are just too big, and that's why we cannot hit that 40 in the wide arc. Let's just check once more. Reload current aircraft. Let's also go up. Alright, so we should now have less drag, I think. Or more drag. More drag. Or perhaps it has nothing to do with what we're doing here. Yeah, so still got the same. Still got the same. The same stall now with flaps up. Oh, I've got an idea. The flaps also have their own lift, moment, and drag components in PlaneMaker. Okay, so in that case, I will keep this at 1. What do we do? But this is... This is... moment. Yeah, drag this side. Yes, I should look at the right. Yeah, so that's point. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and it should be a half. Yeah, so 0.005. So it should even be lower. Am I saying that correctly? Yes. So there's that CW, corresponds with the red line. Yes, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1.5, yes, 0.05. And if we look here, it's this line. Okay. 5, there it should be. Okay, I need to focus here. Yeah, for this one we correct. Yeah, we have the right line. Yeah, so this seems good. This seems good enough. Okay, so let's save. Let's open PlaneMaker. And let's have a look at the control geometry. Here we go. Here, flaps, CL, CD, CM. Okay. Yeah, based off what? This is the flaps increment of cones of lift as max flap detection for the infinite wing case. Infinite insert will be applied. Drag and moment. Yeah, so the moment I think is the force that we notice, the pitch up trim, the pitch up behavior tendency that we notice when we pull down the flaps. The drag is obviously how much we slow down. And that was with flaps down. Yeah, that can indeed be increased. Let's see what happens. And flaps lift is perhaps can perhaps be increased as well because we're stalling too quick. Let's just make that 1 to see what that does. Save. Reload. Flaps down. Oh, wow. I noticed it directly. Look at the drag. Whoa. Entirely different behavior. I'm clearly messing with the right numbers. Look at this. We're still not stalling. It's hard to... I cannot even stall it right now. My yoke is completely aft. Okay. This is interesting. And we were at around 12. Or is it? Yeah, 10 alpha. Okay, so now I kind of get the game, I guess. Kind of get the game. So flaps up, which should bring us a stall at, what was it? An alpha of 15 degrees. Almost 15, 15, that's it. We're now a plus 15. And there it goes. Yeah, so it's not correct. Let's make that power a bit less. Maximum. Boom. Save. Developer reloads. Again. Again, flaps are up. Comes to the top or the bottom of the green arc. There it is. There we go. Still not there. Am I doing this right? I think I'm confusing things. Max 8.5. Let's keep it there. According to that chart, let's change something in our wings instead. Flaps I will do later. Let's have a look at our wing chord size. Yes. Yeah, so our core group state, yeah, so let's change that. Just by 1 feet, we are having too much lift, so let's just get rid of 1 foot. As you can see, you get a weird shape. Let's just see what happens. 4, 4, 4, 4. Why is this generating a weird shape? Oh, because we all kinds of dihedral and stuff. Oh, that's the same shape over there. Either way, it's smaller. Let's just see what happens. Idle RPM. We should now install much sooner. I'm not noticing it. It's exactly the same. Shift 4. Okay. Let's double check that. That's a bit weird. And flaps up, right? Boom. There we go. Well, it's a bit sooner. Clearly, we're now venturing off from our objective numbers. There's no lift component here. It's just, it's the same. Yeah, we got this by the numbers, so I would rather mess around with PlaneMaker to fix this. Okay. So perhaps I should move back. I mean, if I... What's happening here? This is how much lift is generated for a particular angle of attack. So if I decrease that component, then my... Let's just see what happens. 85 it was. Save. There we go. RPM reduced. Looks like exactly the same. So then my question would be, if that doesn't change anything, this is the root file, double checking. We are working in SP Airflow Labs roots. Standards. Miscellaneous, no. Airfoils. Miscellaneous wings. Root and tip. Yeah, we're definitely working with our own files here. That surprises me. One last check. I'd like to evoke some kind of a significant change in flight behavior so I know that we're actually doing something. Let's change the Reynolds number back to 1. Because perhaps this does not apply when we are flying low. So let's see. Reload aircrafts. Throttle aft. Alpha is 14, 15, 16, 17. It should be the same alpha, 18. It should be the same alpha, but we should have. We're now generating less.
Got a little Swedish there.
Yeah.
So let's turn it back at 8. But let's now shove it up. Can we?
Yeah.
Alpha 16.
Yeah.
Ah, there it goes. Save. Something should be noticeable, or am I just... We should stall sooner now, with a lower angle of attack. 9 degrees, 10, 11. We're still not dropping because we're still generating lift, I guess. Look at that, this is insane. Oh, my RPM is still off. Oh, we're still on. There it goes. It's the same speed.
It's delicious.
And again, alpha. Alpha is 12, 14, 16, 18. It's exactly the same. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is for the entire 180 degree of possible angle of attack, so we will never look at that tab. Developer reload current aircraft. RPM back to 0. Still same speeds. 16 alpha. Now that's weird. That is weird. Clearly I'm not understanding something. We shoved this thing up to an alpha of 7. That's where I would expect to see a drop. Stall. This is for a Reynolds number of 1, but we set it for the low and for the high Reynolds configuration here. It's all that same route, except for the tip part, so the outer tip here. But hey, that shouldn't make that much of a difference. Most of the lift is generated here in the inner wing sections. Yes. That's weird. Finder, explain 11, aircraft, airfoils, the routes. Saved today at 2012. That's weird. Or 2055. It's 2117 right now. That's weird. Perhaps I'm not saving the file. I'm just using Control S. Let's try again, hoping that that was the problem. Save. Reload current aircraft. Pause or unpause. 6 degrees of no RPM. No, we're already at 12 alpha, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, and there we go. That's weird. Okay, guys. Clearly, I don't feel in control with our airfoil maker, because whatever I do, I mean, only with drag I noticed a difference, but with the lift I didn't notice anything. And obviously I need to find the variable that I can change in order to change the behavior in X-Plane, and so far that doesn't seem like I'm doing anything with that. I thought that that had to do with the stall, so that demands further study, I guess. So that's what I'm going to do meanwhile, I think. I'll keep this as it is. We're working in the right file. Weird. Done. We save. This one goes away as well. Boom, boom, boom. Slow file. Yeah, we need to continue with that. Study interaction of airfoils with stall speeds, because clearly I cannot seem to change anything up there. Interesting. That's interesting. And I know also the chord size has to do something. So the greater width our wings have, I mean, it's the surface increases of our wings, so we should generate more lift. So even if I take off a foot from the entire wing, root chord, I do not seem to generate a difference in stall behavior. That's weird, and to me suggests that I'm either not saving the file, or when I do a reload of the current aircraft it doesn't reload. So I'm expecting that's a technicality that I'm overseeing, or something that's not working there. So that requires further study, a little bit more investigation on my part. Guys, thank you so much again for jumping in, saying hi, and I guess asking about the progress of the project. I really appreciate that. So once more, thank you. Hoping to see you in my next stream. Don't know when that's going to be. Perhaps tomorrow even. Need to spend some time to further familiarize myself with PlaneMaker, apparently. So if you're curious, follow me on Twitter and Discord. Thanks for the follow, Bobby. Thanks. Follow me on Twitter or Discord, and you get my notifications of when I'm going to stream most often, so you can jump on the stream from the start. So thanks again. Thank you for watching all this time. I appreciate it. And as always, happy lights and blue skies. Bye. Clear skies. Happy flights. I'm even messing up my slogan, my usual familiar slogan. Well, that's the cue that I need to stop streaming and need to get myself a nice cup of tea. Again, guys, thank you for watching. Hoping to see you next time.